In this video, we are going to dive into the form of the kettlebell swing. Let's get into it. So the kettlebell swing is one of those exercises that is super effective for fat loss, for cardiovascular health, for your hormones, basically for your whole body. But it's also one of those things that we want to make sure that the form is right for. So I did a video on the kettlebell swing about why it's so effective, how it's connected to fat loss, all the different benefits and the studies and the research and all of that. So if you're interested in checking that out, check out the description of this video. But in this video, we're really gonna dive into the form, right? Because if we're gonna choose to do the kettlebell swing, we wanna make sure we're doing it effectively. We wanna make sure we're getting the most benefits out of it. But then we also wanna make sure we're not using form that's gonna lead to injury and that's gonna set us back months or years with our workouts. And so for this video, I got my little trusty 10-pound kettlebell. I'm gonna recommend, if you are a complete beginner, you should probably start with something of this weight just to get the form down. But once you have the form, I would bump it up a good amount, right? Because the whole point of the kettlebell swing is you can use your momentum. So personally for me, I use a 50-pound kettlebell and I do anywhere from 50 reps to 75 reps at a time. Or like in the video we posted about the kettlebell swing, there's a couple different styles of sets that are recommended. But for this video, again, we're gonna be using the lightweight just to kind of show you guys the form. So I would recommend, while you watch this video, trying the form out, right? If you have a kettlebell, grab it. If you don't, you could use a backpack, you could use a bag, you could even just kind of pick up a dumbbell or anything that would be in the form of a kettlebell that you could grip so that you could use it to actually swing. So the setup for the kettlebell is gonna be placing your feet about shoulder width apart, right? You can start with the toes pointed forward. That's not how we're gonna end, but setup is about putting them to that shoulder width. Once you have that, you want to rotate your toes slightly outward. So if you were to take your left toe, you would be pointing it towards about 10 to 11 p.m. on a clock. And then with the right toe, you would be pointing it out to about 1 or 2 on the clock. Once you have that, you can go ahead and actually place your object down on the floor right between the front of your toes. So the whole point of this is to just start to get that motion in place. And so what you're gonna do, and you can stand about 6 inches from a wall if you want, because we want to prevent our head and our chest from bending too far forward. But we want to basically just start with a deadlift, right? So keep your chest up, keep your head up, grab the kettlebell. If it's a little too low for you and you start to hinge, that's okay, pick it up, but just get to that point where your chest and your forehead is up, and then you're just going to do a couple deadlifts, right? Once you have that motion down, you want to move the kettlebell actually back to right behind where your heels are. And so the whole purpose of this is we're going to lift it up and we're going to put it down and just tap it. And the whole point is to start to get that hip hinge in place. So we're going to lift it up. If you want to do a little swing, you can. And you basically, when you're here, you want the kettlebell to end, right? So when we swing it, we're not going to be coming far down, but we want the kettlebell to end where that spot is of where we put it down, right? So we have swing and right here, swing and right here, swing and right here. So if I were to do this from the side, get those feet in place, have the kettlebell, we'll pop it up, swing, it's going to end right about here, pop it up, pop it up. So once you have that motion in place, you basically want to get fluid with it. So with the kettlebell swing, you're not going to be spending more time with one certain motion. It's a very fluid movement. So it's up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And a couple notes on form. So with the kettlebell, we want to keep it, when it comes down, as close as we can to our body. So a lot of people end up making the mistake where they kind of swing it all the way down here and then they pop up. We want to avoid that. We just want to keep it very simple. So right in here with the body, I usually just like touch right by my groin right here when it comes down. And then another thing we want to avoid is hinging too much, right? So one thing to kind of be aware of is you want to keep your chest and your forehead pretty in line or behind of your knees, right? So as I come down, my knees move forward a little bit. If I were to pop it straight up, my forehead would about be in line with my knees. So pop, pop. So again, we're not coming down. We're not trying to swing the kettlebell as far back as we can. We're just getting it right here. And then basically the last part and the most important part is going to be popping and squeezing your glutes, your hamstrings, and your quads, to your butt cheeks, and then your legs. And so the purpose of this is really to get that explosive motion in place and also keep your body in a spot that leaves you safe and not vulnerable to injury. And so all you do is you're gonna come down, and when you pop up, basically what you should be thinking of is if you had a pencil in between your butt cheeks, you wanna squeeze everything so hard. Basically your goal is to shatter that pencil, right? So if it's in between your legs, pop, pop. You can kind of see it with the video. I know you can see it with my legs. So it's relaxed as I come down, and then pop, 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 pop. And the whole time you want to leave both the front of your toes and your heels, so your entire foot on the ground. You don't want to be like coming up on your toes, or coming up on your toes and then leaning back on your heels. So all it's going to be is this very fluid motion. Notice how I'm not coming super far down. This isn't a squatting motion. Notice how I'm not hinging forward and trying to swing the kettlebell as far back as I can. I'm keeping it very, very simple. That's the kettlebell swing, right? Again, if you're a beginner, start with a lighter weight. Get used to the motion. If you're a little bit more advanced, go heavier once you get the form down. But after you do maybe like 25 plus of these, you're gonna be very, very out of breath. But the beauty of the kettlebell swing, and like I talked about in the previous video, is that you can keep going even when you're out of breath, right? Because you're using your momentum, you're using the power from your body. So with that being said, let me know in the comments, do you have access to a kettlebell? If you don't, you could also use a dumbbell if you need to, but I would definitely recommend grabbing one of these. So right now, if you go in the description of this video, you'll actually find a link to Onnit's kettlebell. So they make some pretty incredible kettlebells. So you can go there, you can grab one. I would recommend having at least one of these in your home or in your gym if you don't, because again, you just want to get a quick workout in, or maybe you just want a little burst of exercise throughout the day. One of the best things you could do is pick up a kettlebell and do a couple sets, or 50 to 75 reps of these. So that is it. So before we head out today, if you are a beginner when it comes to losing weight, or maybe you've been working at it for a while, but you've been doing the yo-yo, you've really been struggling to stay at that goal weight, do yourself the favor of going down in the description of this video to check out a free 3-part course that we put together on using something I call EMS Mastery to basically see a massive transformation in your consistency and in your weight loss and health. So this training is gonna break down a little bit about why you haven't seen results in the past, about how you can build consistency and motivation, and of course, how you can see results. So check that out, but as always, make sure if you're looking for more awesome videos that you subscribe to this channel, you hit that like button. And with that being said, as always, remember, eat smart, sleep deep, move more, and be grateful for this moment. I'll see you in the next video.